Where's Christina? Oh. All right, 6:30, going to call meeting to order. All council members are present. We met in closed session and there's no reportable action. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for being here. Let us make wise and good decisions for our town. In your name we pray. Amen. Can you please repeat your keys?
Yeah.
I can't see anybody.
Okay. First presentation.
Yep.
Are all of you people in the room?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, proclamations, recognitions, appointments, and presentations. First off, we have presentation, educational presentation on the dangers of flavored tobacco by the California Health Collaborative with status, standing tall against teens using substances, youth. Presented by Esther Craig, Dolores Vasquez, Petra Torres, Joanna Rodriguez, and Yolina Moreno. Did I pronounce that correct?
Juliana is not here, so it's the first four. You got it correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Floor is yours.
Okay. Good evening, council members and Mayor. My name is Dolores Vasquez, and I work for California Health Collaborative, Si Se Puede, and I'm also a resident of Corning, so this is very dear to me. We have here, they will be presenting today is the status. Youth that will be letting you know about what's going on in the community with the flavored tobacco and educating you about the flavored tobacco. So they will introduce themselves as they come.
Hello, my name is Joanna Rodriguez, and I'm also a member of Standing Tall Against Teens Using Substances.
That is enough for the next slide. I think it's because we okay.
There you go.
There we go. Thank you.
Our brain affects how we experience the world around us. It keeps our body functioning and controls our behavior. Some things like breathing, our brain does without us thinking about it, while other behaviors we have more control over, like talking and singing. Multiple areas of the brain are working at the same time to help us engage in different behaviors.
Lisa, is that mic on?
In general, there are two main ways that drugs can affect the brain. Drugs can affect the brain by overstimulating a part of the brain called the reward pathway. The reward pathway is what makes people feel good. It's how, in this case, nicotine makes people feel good. Drugs pretend to be our natural chemical messengers and takes advantage of the neurons that use those neurotransmitters.
Hey y'all, my name is Petra Torres and I'm also part of the Status Youth Group. And so we'll take a look how nicotine takes advantage of our brain. Nicotine mimics a chemical that our brain produces naturally and easily binds to the receptors that get filled, sets off a chain reaction, and leads to our brain to feel pleasure. So when it hijacks this pleasure pathway, it tricks our brain into interpreting the chemical signals as pleasurable and necessary for survival. Is that good? Customers were told that clouds made by e-cigarettes or vape pens were just water. In reality, those clouds are a mixture of many different chemicals that are either present in the e-liquid beforehand or produced during the heating process. An aerosol is a mixture of liquid particles suspended in a gas. Vaping is not just a vapor.
There are many shapes, sizes, and brands in vape devices. Many of the pod-based systems have grown in popularity, but many users may wrongly believe that these are harmless devices. We're going to talk about why many health professionals are concerned about these new nicotine delivery systems. If you don't know, a standard pack of cigarettes contains 20 cigarettes. There is 1 milligram of nicotine absorption per cigarette, so about 20 milligram of nicotine in a whole pack. Unlike other e-juices, which may or may not contain nicotine, all salt-based e-juices contains nicotine. Products with salt-based nicotine can allow for more frequent use, increasing their potential for addiction. This is a high amount of nicotine and can be intense for first-time users. Our concern is that young people are being introduced to high levels of nicotine, becoming a tolerance quickly and becoming addicted as a result.
So we'll take a look how vaping affects our body. So your heartbeat goes up because of the vape and activates your fight or flight responses. Aerosol damages your lungs because your lungs cannot break down those chemicals when they go in. And nicotine can even negatively impact your reproductive organs. So what is the industry not telling us? So research is starting to show how that they are unique, harmful chemicals produced by e-cigarettes that aren't produced by cigarettes. So those pods that contain the nicotine also contain benzoic acid, which pairs up with the nicotine and delivers high doses to your brain. And glycerol and propylene glycerol are common ingredients found in e-cigarettes or e-juices. And propylene glycerol is not approved by the government for inhaling.
Flavors in particular are a marketing strategy to lure new customers. There are at least 15,500 tobacco flavors. They are using flavors to market young people. It's no coincidence that flavorings in tobacco are appealing, especially among youth. Recently, at Friday Night Live, a club that I am involved in at Corning High School, went around local vape shops and put up posters speaking about the targeting tactics that the vaping industry uses to target youth. Ways like advertising happy and healthy people, famous people, futuristic designs, and especially flavors are all ways that youth are constantly being targeted. As shown previously, the vaping industry uses many targeting tactics in their advertisements to make vaping seem a cool thing to do. These are some examples where the futuristic designs, attractive or famous people are being promoted on their advertisements. They convey the idea that vaping is a cool and normal thing to do.
So on the screen it says 81% of kids who ever used tobacco products started with the flavor tobacco. 99% of those e-cigarettes sold in 2015 contained nicotine. And some new information. In 2020, 82.9% of youth e-cigarette users used flavored cigarettes. These include 84.7% of them high schoolers and 73.9% of them middle schoolers. And so users cite flavors was the top reason they started smoking or using or consuming e-cigarettes. And it's second to a family member or friend using them. So as you can see on the screen, we have super cool supermodels like Gigi Bola. I don't even know how to say her name, but she's famous. And then you have Kylie Jenner. Is that Kylie Jenner? No, that's Vanessa Hudgens. Yeah. Anyways, they're famous, and so Juul Labs will pay these influencers to like pose and look all pretty, and or if they have different aesthetics like grunge, e-boy, e-girl, cottagecore. These are all very new styles coming out, and so they would pose and get their followers on board into purchasing these items.
So we'd like to open it up. Does anyone have any questions for us, for the students?
Well, I think the last time you guys were here and made a presentation, they were working on banning a lot of the flavor or e-flavors in Tama County. That has occurred, hasn't it?
In Tehama County just as a whole, there hasn't had anything that was passed within any of the jurisdictions here, but hopefully in the near future.
I thought of some of the local stores they had taken them out. I could be wrong, but
Not yet that we've heard, but definitely hopefully moving forward. So, thank you.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. As you heard, flavored tobacco products are a serious issue, and we request that this issue be placed on an upcoming City Council meeting agenda for discussion and consideration.
Thank you.
thank you, ladies. One of the counties, Orville. Okay, I never heard of somewhere. I gotta get my screen back up. Well, we're gonna keep things moving along. Our second presentation this evening is from the Fire Chief, Tom Tomlinson. It'd be a City of Corning 2020 Fire Department presentation.
All right. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. This is going to be a little bit interactive, I hope. Ask any questions as we go through this. I'm not a big computer guy, so I don't have your PowerPoint stuff, so I'm going to test your reading abilities.
You also broke the strap on your mask.
I did. That's why my glasses are down, so I just soon get rid of the whole
I
thing.
have lots of questions.
You know.
Thank you, sir.
Another one? That's fine. How's Drew? I'm good.
If you're out, Tom, somebody probably have mine.
All right, down to two. Going fast. Okay, all right, so this is just a rundown of kind of 2020, which everybody knows 2020 was kind of a weird year. So our numbers are down a little bit on some of our stuff, which is good. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. So the Corning Volunteer Fire Department was established in 1912. In 1920, we bought our first vehicle, which is the Brockway, which people have seen in parades and stuff like that. It's down at the hall. Right now, it's underneath a cover because we're getting new tires put on it, or new wheels back in Iowa?
Sure.
Iowa. And volunteers are paying for that. It's about, I think it was going to be 4,800 a wheel. So they're wooden spokes, and they have to get them all done. It's got to be all done by a process and everything else. So we are paying for that. So we're going to hopefully do a little bit of paintwork on it and stuff. Like I said, it was from 1920, so we're going to try to, as we do with everything down there, we try to keep a lot of history and the traditions alive as much as we can. So currently, like I said, it started in 1912 by 18 community members, and we actually have a list of every member in the department that's in a book. It's an old ledger, like a bank ledger, and everybody who's ever come into the department has actually signed it. So I counted those up and said I was 18 when they did it in 1912, so it's pretty cool. We have right now about 25 relatively active members, as all volunteer organizations are. We're getting older. But we still take great pride in protecting our city and taking care of stuff there. We currently have two Type 1 engines, which are the big engines that go to large structure fires and things like that. A Type 2 engine, which we use as a grass rig around here, and also go to structures. And then that's the one that goes We've gone to the camp and the car and the different fires down in LA, all the different fires around here, and we use it for our mutual aid truck also.
How was that truck purchased, Tom?
That was purchased by the volunteers.
Thank you.
And then we have our ladder truck, which is called a Quint. It's called a Quint because it has a tank, a ladder, ground ladders, hoses, and a pump. So there's 5 different things that it can actually do. So it's actually a structure rig also. It just has a very small tank because just to fill that ladder full of water takes about 150 gallons, and it's a 300-gallon tank. So
How was that truck purchased, Tom?
that was purchased half by the city and half by the Nome Lackey tribe in 2005. It was used 2000. It's a 2000 engine or a 2000 truck, and it was a Sparks Fire Department truck, and they're on a 5-year lease there. So when their lease was up, they sold it to somebody and refurbished it and did everything. So it's a 2000 model, and we've had it since 2005. We also have our medical squad and my truck, which one of our Type 1s, the medical squad and my truck have all been purchased within about the last 3.5 years. So we've upgraded very nicely. Thank you, City, for helping us with that, and citizens for Measure A, voting for Measure A. Nuts and bolts from last year, 2020, volunteers responded 996 calls for service. These consisted of 60 fires that include mutual aid with CAL FIRE. Our general mutual aid goes to the river, kind of Blackview Road, out there where the railroad tracks are, Dial Road, to pretty much the county line going south. So if they call us for those, we will go to those. Strike teams, we went on 3 last year. We were on the August, that was North Complex, right? We did some coverage at Cal Fire and Pasadena and Elk Creek last year while those engines were up on the fire when it first started. And then we also sent them to Happy Camp last summer and I want to say one other, I can't think where it is right now. So we tried to While on the structure fires, 696 of all of those were medical calls. That includes anything from CPR, which we're all certified in, wounds, people getting hurt, broken things, delivering babies on occasion. Councilman Demo delivered a baby 1.5 to 2 years ago? Something like that. Giving Narcan to overdoses. We actually this year, different call. Billy Wooten, who's here with me tonight, we worked on it for about 15 minutes. Dog's toy got stuck on his bottom jaw and was digging it in. It was bleeding and stuff. And we got up there with some pliers and cut it out and got that out of the dog's mouth. So one of our weird ones. I'm going to say it out loud. We don't really get birds out of trees.
Or cats.
Or cats. So the main 240 would have been miscellaneous calls such as traffic collisions, gas emergencies, I can't do it. Gas emergencies, you get called out for carbon monoxide alarms going off, different things like that. We have carbon monoxide detectors that we can use. Assist with lifting, traffic collisions, like I said. And these calls, the 996 in just work time resulted in about 3,045 hours of volunteer time. It's a lot of time for guys that don't get paid at all. Training that we do structure training, we do medical training, obviously. We do extrication training, which I'll show you a little something here in a minute. Everybody goes through the gas meters, our pump operations on our trucks, medical, CPR. 14, I believe, we have 2 EMTs, and I believe 14 that are EMRs, which are emergency medical responders, which is just below an EMT. And that's got to be redone every 2 years. So that's a lot of the time of training also. So 1,500 hours of training, roughly. Non-training and non-emergency, a lot of different things. So that time total 550 plus hours. And these are rough estimates, pretty close, but So we do parades, we stand by at football games, we stand by at the junior rodeo this last weekend. We usually have some sort of activity at the Food Truck Tuesdays. We have dinners, we have breakfast, we do all kinds of different things. Several of those, the numbers are down a little bit just due to the COVID, some of the things we didn't do. We had 2 very successful drive-through dinners. We have tri-tip and spaghetti, we had spaghetti the night of the thing. And we usually have a couple pancake breakfasts also.
So we usually donate the money to a cause. We don't keep that money.
Yeah, something. Now, we've done sober grad before. Sometimes we've done people with kids who might have cancer or something like that, different things there. So the total hours by volunteers alone was 5,096, which is quite a few hours. Very proud of what these guys do, keeping our city safe and being able to put their time in and volunteering. Dispatch center. So it's manned 24 hours, 24 hours, 7 days a week, all year long. These guys work 12-hour shifts, 2 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 2 days off, so on, and rotate like that. In addition to 911 calls, they also take all business and burn day calls. Glenn County, mostly Orland, when they have burn days, they take those phone calls every day. Sometimes it's up to 30 a day. People calling in and saying, hey, I'm burning this address. That way, if it gets called in, the fire department doesn't actually get called and say, hey, there's somebody burning some brush out here. So they do that. Dispatchers also do light maintenance on vehicles and buildings. We do our own cleaning down there. We do our own maintenance. We'll change a light. We'll do different things like that on the vehicles. Building maintenance, same thing. I said cleaning, doing other stuff down there. So they can be very, very busy when they're getting 25 calls a day for burns, plus 911 calls, plus doing some other cleanup and things like that. Mondays are check days. They check all the engines, make sure they start, of course, and go through every machine we have. We have chainsaws, we have extrication tools, we have breathing apparatus. They have to change batteries out in. So they start every chainsaw, every K tool, which we cut in the buildings with. So they're running back and forth, and phone rings and doing stuff there. So they're checking all the vehicles and everything, make sure everything's in good running order. And radios, of course, that are very important. So these guys do a great job. They're there all the time. Their dispatching duties, they do a fantastic job. We took on recently, we have seven other departments that we dispatch for besides us. All in Glenn County, they're listed there. And they do a great job with those because sometimes they don't know the exact, we don't have a CAD system where it just pops up. So they do a great job dispatching those people. So they do that also. They're also in charge of basically our safety. If we need PG&E, they dispatch PG&E. If we need gas company, if we need the hazmat team that has to come out of Reading, they'll call them to take care of that also. So they have a lot of responsibility sitting in that office doing these things. CHP, police, a lot of times they'll call police before we can go in and they'll stay outside the area in case it's a victim of violence or a shooting or anything like that. And of course they call the ambulances to come also. So on top of our 996 calls, they also did 906 for Glenn County. So they're pretty busy in there. And they, like I said, they do a great job doing that. Questions on dispatch? Dispatch office open 7:30 to 5:30. And if you're ever interested, just come down the fire hall and we'll give you a tour if you want. And this I put in just for information more than anything else. So outfitting firefighter. Turnouts and bunker gear. If you go down, a coat's $1,300. Billy, get your stuff out, will you? So our coat is about $1,300. Our pants are right around $1,000. The helmet's around $400, boots around $200, gloves about $85 for a total of $2,985. Just to outfit a guy for structure gear.
I think my house is on fire.
Yeah.
What's that?
My house was on fire, he's awful
Yeah.
slow.
Okay, so there's pants and boots with the suspenders. There's a coat, and then if we have to go into a structure with smoke and stuff, we've got a VA, I'll show you here, or he'll show you here in just a minute. So our Nomex, which is our wildland gear, it's lighter stuff, coat 300, pant 300, helmet 80, gloves 40, total $720 for our wildland gear. And that does include your personal boots. We don't buy boots for the wildland gear stuff. So that's our VA, or SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. That is full of air. And it actually has a non-movement alarm on it. You turn it on, turn it on. So if a firefighter goes down after a certain amount of time, if he doesn't move, it'll go off like that, but it's a lot louder, and then it gets louder and closer together for firefighter safety in case someone goes down. These were purchased about 2 years ago. They are approximately $6,000 a piece. That is with the mask, the bottle, the harness, and everything.
How many of those do we have?
We have 18 of those. We recently bought, with that came 36 bottles, so we have spares so when we run out. And then recently we just bought 6 more so that we can trade out. Currently we have to go, when the bottles are empty, we have to go to Orland to fill them. But hopefully this year in the budget, which I think it's okay, I believe we passed, if it passes, we'll get our own fill station that will fill 2 bottles at a time in about 3 to 5 minutes. So we're hoping that will happen.
Is there any other feature to that tank that?
Okay, so that's the sound there when he's breathing. And it's got a microphone on it so we can hear. Our old ones, you had to yell and scream when it was really muffled. These ones have a microphone in them so he can actually talk if he wanted to. Go ahead and say something, Bill.
I can hear us.
Oh, there you go.
I'm clipping Billy.
So that much better. The thing by his right hand there that's flashing, that's the alarm. So that'll get louder and a lot closer together if somebody's down and not moving at all. This right here is showing how many pounds of pressure you have in it, how much air you have left, how much time. It'll actually show your heart rate. And it's got what's called a tick in it, which is a thermal imaging camera. So when you're doing a search and rescue, you can actually point it and it will show you if you have a body because of the shape next to what a fire might look like. So it actually has a screen in it and it goes to different colors and everything else. And these are all battery operated. Like I said, you guys check the batteries twice a week anyway to make sure. So it's called a thermal imaging camera. We have 2 that go around the neck that we can carry around to check hot spots in a fire. But these ones are actually connected so you can walk around with it and inside there. So a lot of the stuff, the gear, the Nomex and the other gear, I can acquire, and I do acquire quite a bit of it on grants. The grant for the wildland gear comes from CAL FIRE, and the grant for the structure gear is through the Homeland Security that I get to actually pay the county sheriff's department that I work with them and the CAL FIRE office. So, all right, so that's that stuff. Any questions for Billy? Thank you, Billy. So that's the demo on that. And then this we recently purchased. Well, it's been a couple years now. This is our education, one of our education tools. And this one's battery operated. The other one that we have is what's the word, hydraulic. So it's got a hydraulic pump and hoses. This one's heavier because it has the battery unit, but it's much more, you can be more agile with it and move things around. So, so we can kind of call it So this is called a combi tool, which stands for combination tool. So it'll cut steel, it'll squeeze steel, and it'll also, you can put it inside and go that way and spread it as you go. So that's why it's called a combi tool. I don't know the cutting force on it, but we can cut the top off the collar. What happens a lot of times, if you go to the door, jam that in there and then we'll spread it to get a bite on it so then we can cut the door off if we have to. So the common name is Jaws. Jaws is just, they were the first ones that did it, which was made by Hearst Company. We buy Pomatro products. It's kind of the better one in the market right now. And so yeah, our other one, the hydraulic unit, it has different ones that do all three of those. So it has a specific cutter. It has jaws that go like that. And it's got a specific spreader that opens a little bit wider than this one, that's a little longer. It also has a ram. So the ram, I believe, the ram's, I'd say probably 18 inches long and it'll extend 3 times. So what we can do with that is you put it in the doorway and then you put it against the dash if you need to do a dash roll to get it off of people's legs that might be in the wreck. So you can do a dash roll and push that against the dash and it'll actually push that forward. Maybe cutting a little bit with this to soften it up. And it'll roll that dash up and then we can get the patient out when we're doing that kind of stuff. So we have lots of good toys. They're fun, they're good, and they're top quality. That SCBA we got is pretty much the top of the line on the market right now. So
How was that tool purchased and what did it cost?
this one, I don't remember how this one was.
That we bought, that was Measure A, and the other one was purchased by the volunteers. One of them was purchased by the
The one on
volunteers.
6 was purchased by the volunteers.
Yeah, I thought we bought one too.
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Anyway,
So, yeah,
quite an expensive tool.
yes. I think this was $7,800 with a spare battery. I think that's what it was, something like that, so. Any questions on any of this stuff? Money, how we spend our money, what we do, or
Tom,
stuff?
I know the answers to these, but these people don't, it wasn't in your thing. What, engine 12, what's it cost to replace an engine?
That
Ladder
engine,
truck.
2 years ago now, was $480,000. And once again, we think it's top of the line, we can get them for more. We were told that Orland's getting another new engine next year, and they had to get their thing in, they're trying to get their bid in before June 1st, because they said it's gonna go up like 18%. They bought 3 years ago, they got their new ladder truck, which I think was like $860. And he said if we ordered it now after June 1st, it would be about $1.4 million. So just like everything else, it's all going up. So, yeah, it's expensive. We try to do great. City management's been doing great with the budget. Once again, Measure A, we thank you very much for your votes on Measure A. And that will conclude mine, unless anybody has any other questions on anything. Thank you again, Billy. All right.
Good presentation, Chief.
The only thing that I would add is that if we had to pay the volunteers who had paid fire staff, it would cost the city upwards of another $2 million per year to operate a paid fire department. Just for comparison purposes, Measure A has been the saving grace for the city since I came here. I can't be more grateful that measure passed. We get just over $1.1 million per year for Measure A, so there's no way as a city that we could fund a department with existing revenues. And so I can't be more thankful for the volunteer work that they do and how much time they give back to our residents. So I just want to leave that unsaid because a lot of their work goes without notice.
And I'd like to thank Christina because when we were trying to get Measure A to pass, she went door to door with us, just like the rest of us, pushing the measure to try and get it to pass. So her help was greatly appreciated in that effort too.
I believe everybody within the city too, the PD, the guys from PD, and everybody was involved, and we greatly appreciate the community support. We hope we're showing, where your money is going and giving it back and providing the services that you deserve. So thank you again. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to public comments and business from the floor. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda, now is your time to speak. Diane?
It's on. Is it on?
Yeah.
Usually I'm really bad and I'm forgetting it. This time it's on.
You're good.
All right. Diana Ramirez, Waste Management, Honorable Mayor, City Council, thank you very much. I wanted to provide a friendly reminder for everyone in the room as well as the public that in honor of Memorial Day weekend, you can expect to have a delayed service in your waste collection. Thank you for allowing our employees and our military veterans to honor Memorial Day. And so that means that if you normally expect your waste to be collected on a Monday, it will be collected on a Tuesday. That also goes all the way down the line for the whole week. Even if you have waste normally collected on Friday, it would be collected on Saturday. So that's just a friendly reminder for that. By the way, 4th of July should not be interrupted in terms of service because it is on Sunday this year. So there should not be an interruption of collection on that week. I also wanted to take the opportunity to remind our business community that as you're opening up your businesses and you're getting more business, please contact us so you can right-size your service for your waste collection. We're here to help. Also, if you do not currently have recycling with your business, please contact us to verify if you are required by AB 341 to have recycling set up as part of your service. Again, we are here to help. But that's all for me today. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
And specifically the yard recycling is included in commercial.
Let's get the new cycle out so some that are in the hall, those that need their presentations of the other
Keep it yard and the recycling for waste that you're producing.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else out in the hallway that would like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda?
While we're waiting to see if anybody else files in, the new city website is going live tomorrow, so check it out. I would check it out at the end of the day because we're going to be doing the transition during the workday tomorrow. So if you have some extra time tomorrow evening, go to www.corning.org. And you should see the new city website. It's beautiful, it's completely upgraded, it's ADA compliant. It also translates into different languages to help our Spanish-speaking residents as well. And I'm very, very proud of my staff's work on this project. From the department heads to Lisa helping writing descriptions to the department, to Mary in finance helping with the design, and Ruby, one of our newest employees, being tackled with the project, and also Tom Watson. They've done a tremendous job, and at some point later, I'll bring them in to personally congratulate them in their hard work, because it was a huge endeavor for them to take on.
What day is it going on?
Tomorrow.
Just real quick, I wanted to ask, to remind me, are people still able to get a Zoom link to like the meeting tonight?
No. It doesn't, our technology here at City Hall, we don't have the capacity unless we upgraded our entire system for people to actively be able to hear well by zooming in while also having an in-person meeting. We can do one or the other with our system, but doing both simultaneously, the people remoting in cannot hear well, and so it was a constant problem.
And I believe the limit of size restrictions are going to be lifted shortly anyway, so. I'll move on. If there are no more public comments, we've got a consent agenda. There's 4 items on the consent agenda. If there's nothing that anybody wants pulled or discussed, I'm not going to read it to save time. Do I have a motion?
I move we accept consent agenda items 3 to 6.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So passed unanimous. So no items removed from the consent. Public hearings and meetings, there are none. Do we have some room to bring some more people in because there's people here to hear this agenda package? we can space people out and bring everybody in.
Gonna take his toy and go home.
Take your ball and leave, Tom.
Hey, don't trip over that carpet.
There's 2 empties over here, Christina.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Lou.
Good job, Tom. Somebody didn't want to talk. That was a good presentation.
Not bad.
All right, regular agenda. Item number 7, authorized purchases and installation of new audible ADA compliant push buttons at the 4 signalized intersections on Solano Street at a total combined cost of $28,155.08, and direct staff to budget for these costs as part of the 2021-22 fiscal year budget, utilizing street funds or general funds. And that would be Robin.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, we've received a request from Mrs. Elizabeth Ben Lanes and her son, is it Ali? Do I have anybody here for this? Okay, perfect. Ben Lanes requesting the installation of the audible ADA compliant pedestrian push buttons. So when you push the push buttons on the crosswalks, they beep or make a noise in addition to flashing the symbols on the current crosswalks. This is becoming very common and almost required at all new intersection installations where the signals are being replaced or the push buttons are being upgraded. You have received both letters, but we did want to show that the child did provide a letter for us also. He is blind, and he has someone helping him maneuver through the city. He goes to Olive View, and he would like to be a little more free moving through our city. So the request was to install these push buttons at the 4 signalized intersections along Solano Street, which is Edith and Highway 99, Toombs, 6th, and Marguerite. The installation of these buttons are approximately $7,405.66 for each intersection. It requires 8 push buttons and some control units that go in the actual signal box. Staff would work with Caltrans to do this installation. Caltrans would be the ones doing the work in their boxes. Staff would be the ones replacing the actual units on the poles. It's a 2-wire system, which is why it took us so long to find the system that will work with our lights. Right now, Caltrans signals all have 3 wires, and that's the current approved system through Caltrans. But these are compliant with the Caltrans maintenance contract in their work. As you guys read, we are asking to budget funds either out of the streets funds for this next fiscal year or general funds in the amount of $28,155.08. If there's any questions, I can answer those.
Well, I think this would probably go along with the ADA study that we had compiled to bring the city more current with all ADA standards. I think it would be a show of good faith that we are moving forward with that, and I'm sure that he's not the only resident of Corning that is visually impaired. I think, there'd be more benefit from it, and I'm in favor of it. I am.
I'm surprised it hasn't come before us sooner than this, to be honest with you.
I will also mention that the student attends Olive View right now. That is one of our ATP projects, Safe Routes, that we are doing the improvements. And the pedestrian crossing, not at the signal, will be an audible unit.
Is he the child that the PD did the demonstration with the drone?
Yes.
Amazing kid. Does anybody have any questions, comments? If not, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that mayor and council authorize staff to purchase and install new audible ADA compliant push buttons at the 4 signal price intersections on Solana Street at a total combined cost of $28,155.80, and direct staff to budget these costs as a part of the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget utilizing street funds 115-9112-3003 or general funds 001-9112-3000.
I think in that recommendation, we need to choose either,
Well, we didn't talk about which one you
Yeah.
want to take it out. So-
I would prefer it
Which one
comes-
you had to go to say you wanted it first and then just pick?
and I think we need to, it needs to be a motion direct on one or the other, correct?
I need to know where you want to take the funds.
That's what I'm saying, she can't just read both, because we're making a motion, it's not one that, I personally would like to see it come out of the general funds. We're doing a lot of road repairs, and I do not want to see money taken out of our road repairs, we could take it out of our general fund. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So if you,
I would rather do it on
if we're in
general fund
agreement to
also.
that, you could amend your motion to be, the letter
Do I
B?
read the whole thing again?
No, just amend it to be out of general funds.
Just all the numbers.
All right, to take the funds out of general funds 001-9112-3000.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So pass unanimous.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 8, adopt resolution 0525-2021-01, temporarily suspending the business license fee requirements for businesses operating solely at a city-approved events and approved list of events. That'd be Christine?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. I was approached by representatives of the Chamber of Commerce regarding challenges that they were having ascertaining vendors for the farmers market this year, with one of the challenges being the expense of city business licenses. We talked through many different options, but through that, the city attorney and I agreed at this point this would be the best option for the city. And then I would like direction as well as whether or not you would like the city to evaluate whether a permanent exemption for city-sponsored events is warranted and provide a report to the city council thereafter.
So for purpose of clarification, the first two will need action, the third one just direction to staff.
I personally, I think it's good if somebody wants to come to an event that we're sponsoring, because we're doing it for the good of the community, it's not solely for one's personal financial gain. I see no reason why we can't waive fees to try to get more people out here to give the community something to go to and actually have some vendors there for them to visit.
Well, and after the rough year and a half they've had, anything we can do to help them out.
It's a small fee, but it's...
Yeah.
So in this exemption, just to provide clarification, is only for those businesses that otherwise do not conduct business within the city limits.
Right. Otherwise, they'd already have a license.
Or they can.
Yes. We have any more comments or questions? If not, do I have a motion?
I move Mayor and Council approve resolution number 05-25-2021-01, suspending the business license fee requirements for businesses operating solely at city-approved events, and approve the fee and license exemption for all Corning Chamber of Commerce organized events and the city-sponsored events, and direct staff to evaluate. Oh,
The motion was just the first two.
okay, and then we'll do the other one. All right.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So pass unanimous?
Now read the other part.
Well, no, just let us know if you guys want us to move forward to have it be a permanent exemption, which would basically be an amendment to the ordinance where these types of vendors would not be subject to it permanently, business license tax permanently.
What do you think, Shelley? What's your...
Can we revisit it?
Sure.
Yeah, if that's your wishes, then
I
absolutely.
mean, I don't have a problem with this.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I understand the direction, that I will not come back with a permanent ordinance, or do you want to see a proposed permanent ordinance providing an exemption? I just need to make sure I understand what I'm supposed to do.
I think what she's saying is, let's wait and see, and then come back with one later. Is that what you were after?
So
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay.
Do you put it off for a couple of months and then put it on the agenda?
Yeah. This will get us through this summer, and then we can revisit it and see if it's something that we want to make permanent, see if it's worthwhile. All right. Let's see, now we're going to move on to item 9. Direction to staff regarding murals and design guidelines in commercial zones. And that would be Christine.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. Can everybody hear me, or would you rather me do at the podium? At the podium? I don't know if it's going to help, right, but I'll try. I'm going to take this off.
What a girl.
Whew. It's hard to talk a lot with those masks on, especially loud, and I don't have a loud voice, so I apologize. But thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. I don't know how much the public's aware of this, but every time a building gets painted in town or a mural goes up in town, we, as staff, get calls about folks that are upset that they don't like it, and then there's always those that do like it. And it's always one way or the other. I can almost guarantee every single time something happens that we're going to get phone calls or emails at City Hall. Sometimes it's to the point where it's completely disruptive of staff getting any other work done. That's what we're here for, so I'm not complaining, but it can be very continuous all day long. So within that, back when this came up previously in 2017, I made a presentation to council about what other mural ordinances in other communities state for the council to consider whether they wanted to direct staff to develop an ordinance for the city of Corning. At that time, they chose not to pursue an ordinance with any kind of guidelines on murals, and so it died. Within that, we also get complaints about paint colors. There was a purple commercial business about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, that caused turmoil. The more recent is the Old Miners Inn that's caused turmoil. There's been other big businesses. I could go on and on and on with a list of businesses that we receive complaints about. And we did anticipate that there would be some members of the community that may be here tonight to express their concerns about the paint color on one of the more recently painted buildings in town, and or the murals that have gone up. When I took a look on Facebook, granted that's not a survey, so it's not 100% accurate, but I saw a lot of positive comments about both the murals and the paint of the newest Miners Inn color. That's not to say that that represents everybody. It's just those that are involved in those conversations on social media. So within that, we're here to provide the opportunity for comment from the public and receive guidance from the council as to whether or how they would like to move forward. Just in terms of kind of thought process, because I've been through this so many times, you have to think about the worst case scenario and whether you want to regulate for the worst case scenario. That's certainly a council choice. But if you had the Miners Inn painted a bright green color, how would you feel? And I'll leave it at that. Staff is at your mercy, so if we receive direction to develop an ordinance, we would first research other nearby community ordinances. I put that staff item together that's before you last minute on Friday just to have something on the agenda, so we didn't just have to hear public comment. The council is not permitted to during public comment to respond back to interested community members. So if it were not agendized on the agenda, all we could hear is the public's concern and not have dialogue. And so the purpose of the staff item before you really is to provide an opportunity for dialogue today. So within that, that concludes my presentation. If there was interest, we would go do research of what other communities do, bring back options, reevaluate, get further direction from the council about what exactly and under what parameters they want the ordinance to represent, and then go from there. Is there any questions for me before I sit down?
No.
No? Okay, thank you.
Before we open this up to the public, I just want to clarify, I spoke with the city manager last week, and we discussed this briefly, and I wanted this on the agenda so that we could discuss it. I don't like people coming in with complaints that whether they're valid or not valid, I feel that we owe it, to give a response, have a conversation. I hate sitting up here being quiet when somebody's questioning why something's happened and they're looking at us for a response, and we can't give it to you. So this is your chance to interact with the council, get some opinions. We can listen to anybody's opinions, whether it's positive, negative, and we'll move forward from there. So is there anybody up here that would like to say something before we let our audience speak?
I would. Okay. Y'all know that I like color. I like a lot of color. I love the color of Miners Inc. I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's fun. I think the murals are beautiful and fun. But in saying that, we also had a local businessman who had a big flag out in front of his business that said F the president's name, which is horrible and offensive. So even though I love there's when you don't have any rules, sometimes it can get a little crazy out there. But I do love the colors, and I love the murals. More colors, the better.
Can I ask a quick question? Yeah. The current murals that are going up, whenever it's done, will not affect this, correct? No. And should an ordinance go into effect, what is the time period for that?
An ordinance would go into effect 30 days after the second reading. So it would go into effect, and it would be the rule within the jurisdiction at that point.
Okay.
But yeah, like Christina indicated, for people that already have murals up, it wouldn't affect them. Frankly, that wouldn't be fair. That rule did not apply when they made that decision. So. Yeah.
I asked that because I wanted that information.
Yeah, it would probably be about a 2-month window. If we were to direct staff to do something tonight, it'd be a minimum of 2 months before it was in effect, because they have to draft it, has to come to us, has to come back reread again. That being said, I'm not one to over-government. I have no issue with the color of miners. Would I have painted it that my personal self? Probably not. But I don't have to look at it when I drive by if I'm not upset with it. So I didn't buy the building, I didn't pay the painter. It's not offensive. If it was offensive, I would definitely have some issues with it. The murals, I think, are beautiful. If you bring some color to our community, I would rather look at those all day long than a plain old side of a building that you're lucky if it ever gets any paint put on it, period. We got a lot of dilapidated buildings downtown that I think people should be outraged over a lot more than some beautiful art or a color of a building that they don't even go in as a business. They don't go there. They don't frequent it. Very, very few people that I know go there. I've been in there during parades, not a problem. But that's my personal take. I'm going to open it up to our audience members. If you'd like to...
Give a chance to say anything?
I'm sorry, I thought you were quiet.
I'm not crazy about the color of Miners Inn, but I didn't buy the paint. I don't own the building. And I don't want to be the one to say, I don't want to be the government to tell a person what he can and can't do with his own property. I don't want to be that person. Murals, I want to thank the Nomalaki tribe for taking pride in our town and painting murals that are very meaningful to you guys. To me, I'm not a member of the tribe, so they're not meaningful to me. I don't have to like them, I don't have to dislike them. And some of the things that were put in the agenda packet here tonight were, maybe somebody ought to look at it and then deem whether they're in good taste or not. Well, who's to say what's in good taste? I don't want to be that person. I'm not going to make that decision whether I think something is tasteful or not. Obviously, if it's vulgar, we don't want it up there. We can't have vulgarity up there. Those murals mean something to you folks, and they're colorful, that brings new life to our town, I think. I don't know what they mean. Maybe you can explain it to us. I'm sure they have meaning to them. But I don't want to be the person, we painted a mural in the back of the library. I don't know whether anybody complained about that or not. I wasn't privy to it if they did, but I don't know how we in the city could promote painting a mural that fits what we want to do and then tell somebody else they can't do something that fits their world or their society or their beliefs. I don't want to be that person. I'm here to try and make the city of Corning better, and I hope in some way we're doing that, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you can't paint what you believe on a building as long as it's in good taste. That's about all I got to say about that.
I drove by them, my daughter and I did, and we thought they were beautiful. It's just beautiful. I can't explain it another way. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Well, some people will not like it, some will, and that's just everybody's personal opinion. And we do live in a community where it's not just one person, it's a community, and we all come together, and I just think they're beautiful. And when you said about the other paintings of dark purple, and then it was La Hacienda, it was like a dark yellow. These are all Hispanic-owned buildings, businesses, and we all come from different cultural backgrounds, and I think they're beautiful, but everybody just has a different opinion, and we can't help that, and everybody's free to express their opinion, and that's okay. But the murals, I just think they're beautiful.
Shelley?
Hands down, I think we all love the murals, they're great. And it was great to watch it all happen too. As a business owner, I would not like to be governed over what I can paint my business or, how I can express my business with color or whatever, because I like color too. But I think that everybody needs to kind of keep in mind, everyone else as well and businesses around you. As a homeowner, I'd hate to see a lime green house go up, there is that too. It affects property values and everything else, and people need to realize that. So, I don't know.
But you also have to look at it.
Go both ways on.
Maybe their house was in dire need of paint, and lime green was the cheapest. Lime green was on sale.
That's
So,
right.
I know there's a
That's true.
purple lumberyard in Willow Creek that had a good buy on paint, I guess.
But yes, thank you for the beautiful mural.
All right, if everybody up here's had a chance to speak, who would like to step up to the podium, now's your time.
I'm thinking this would probably be pretty obvious, but just for a starting point, I think the only criterion that we can all agree on, whatever the mural or art would be, is something that as long as it doesn't distract for driving. That's the only thing I can think of is I can't conceive of any particular mural or any kind of art that would be distracting to drivers. Of course, people distract from everything else, so mural is part of the low end of the list, but that's the only thing I can think that would be any aspect.
Thank you, Brian.
Stephen?
I think it reflects a new excitement in the town, and I think it's really, really neat when you think how much it costs to paint City Hall, and then you see how big that old Corning Hotel is, and you go, wow, that was a lot of work. So, like the council said, okay, it's not my color, but boy, it is nice, and I get used to it quickly, and the murals, we've needed that for years. So I think it's just absolutely great.
And I understand it was done by a professional painter, so it wasn't just hacked, it was it's done right.
Thank you, Steve. And Drew?
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you guys for allowing me to speak. So I am one of the people that helped organize the murals, and we collaborated with the Urbanist Collective, which is a mural group, so they're professionals. They travel all over the world and do this, so, we're very lucky to have them come in and collaborate with us. Our office staff, and of course I met with the mayor and Christina, the city manager, and shared the vision of the murals. And for those of you that don't know, the murals are significant to the tribe. They're things that are important to us. And we wanted to share that with the community. But at the same time, we wanted to inspire our building owners, our local businesses, that we can beautify this town through art. But not only that, but we can also inspire our young people, our youth, to get out there and realize that those things can happen in their community. You look on the internet all the time and you see all these big, bright, vibrant murals that go on in cities, and you think that's where it belongs. But really we can bring it to our community too. We can really change the culture. And the Minnewaki people are part of history here. So it's not just a mural. We're sharing history, and we can continue to do more. And they don't have to be about the tribe. We want to be able to do other things that, like I said, inspire our youth. They're the future of this town, of this country, so we want to keep them going, keep them inspired. Those are the people that are going to be making the decisions down the road for us in those seats, in my seat, and be out in here. So, I want to say thank you for all the support, and I know there's some disagreement, but, if you step back and you really see what's going on and you listen to the people in the community, it's a great thing, and we can bring more great things to our town. So thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I also have a letter from the Urbanist group for the city council, and they just pretty much are sharing. They want to say thank you for welcoming them to the town, and they felt like the community was very, very energized, and everyone was happy to see these things going up. And I also want to point out that they only shopped at the local stores here. They went to the Yaya's restaurant, and they only ate local, and they bought the paint right here at the lumber yard as much as they could. Anything that they can buy here local, they did. So that's something we can be thankful for too, to bring, to build that local economy. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Would you be interested in maybe writing something about what the murals mean? I personally would be interested in that. I don't know if the rest of the community would, but just being a history buff myself, I always, anyway, I can understand other cultures.
I would like you to explain if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a few ideas on how we can do that. My cousin here is a professional videographer, so possible video to share with the community. We thought about doing a plaque on the wall. So there's plenty of ideas that in the works on how we can share and express what these murals mean.
Yeah, if you could put something together, even if we could get Chrissy to put it on the rec page for the community to be able to put pictures of the murals with the meanings behind them, and then maybe people will get a better understanding of it. I think that would be good.
Sure. Thank you.
Because they undoubtedly tell a story, don't they? Yeah.
All right, is there anybody else that would like to speak?
I moved that one book there.
You can't tell.
Johnson, newspaper reporter. I've been covering this town for 20 years, and I want to tell you, for me personally, this is one of the most exciting things that has happened in this community in a long time, to the point where I'm excited to have family and friends come, and it's one of the very first things that I will show them. I will bring them downtown to show them this artwork. And I just want to tell you, I was so excited. I wasn't here, I was on vacation when it was happening, but when I got home and I saw that, because it's directly right across from my window, I was thrilled. And I hope, like everybody said, this really inspires our community to do more things like this. I've always been jealous of Orland and the statues that they have there, and I hope this inspires our community to do even more things like that. So thank you very, very much.
Tony, Jerry?
I would just like to see if the city could do something to encourage a lot of the business owners to spruce up the front of their places. You know, a few years back, we made them take down their awnings for safety purposes, and nothing's been done since then. So I would be nice if we had some kind of regulation where they had
I
to.
think Christine can give you some information on that. We are working on it.
We are. So the council already approved a revised ordinance that makes the whole process for staff. Part of the problem in the past was the process administratively was so difficult that it took forever just to deal with one property, let alone the number we have that we're dealing with in Corning with a really small staff. So I have a planner / recreation coordinator. So literally I have a half-time planner that's largely responsible for code enforcement unless there's a structural issue that would affect building. And so the process needed to be streamlined so staff could adequately address the issues. So we are. You should be seeing, I've been seeing residential homes getting cleaned up that we've been working really hard on. The process is much more streamlined. I'm not going to go into the full details today, but if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those privately with you. But also we'll be coming back with some revisions that would require like an adhesive over any building that's not open for business so that you don't see the cobwebs, whatever they have inside. I could give examples, but I don't want to. We all know what we're talking about. So that you can't see inside, and it'll be, I don't know what the terminology is, but it'll be so that if you're really close up, you can see inside for safety purposes, but as you're driving by visually, it'll still look aesthetic. And then we also are now requiring what's called clear boarding when a business is boarded up when they're not running their business. So instead of plywood on the windows and the doors, we're requiring it to be clear boarded so that when you drive by, you cannot tell that the business is closed. And so those are some of the things that we're working on to help with those improvements. We do have a facade improvement grant program that I think actually the tribe donated funds to, that we still have funds available. We actually have never had a business take advantage of it. It's a 50% match up to $5,000. Yeah. We would love for businesses to take advantage of it, and it's not because our businesses don't know. I had my Spanish-speaking staff go to the Spanish-speaking businesses, and I had one of my English-speaking staff members go to the English-speaking businesses so that we weren't missing anybody, with a brochure letting them know what the grant is and how to apply. And we still haven't gotten anything. So if you want to help us get the word out, see our new website under Economic Development, and there's a link from there. But we would love to get those funds out.
Tony?
Can I pull a Julie and stand back here?
I think you got the voice for it.
First of all, I want to say something. Listening to each one of you, council members, honorable mayor, I'm really thankful that you're all up there and that you've expressed what you've expressed, and I think you don't get enough credit for the stuff that you do as a group, and I'm thankful that you're supportive and you can see what's going on. I was going to come here tonight and talk about, I didn't know where this was going to go as far as the murals and stuff, and all I can say is ditto to what Drew said, what everybody else has basically said so far. And I think that I I'm blessed to live in this community, and I believe that we all need to give back to the community, and that's what I see being done. I mean, I think about what it's got to take to put together those murals. 20 years ago, 21 years ago, Rotary and the Exchange Club and the Lions Club put together Martini Plaza. At the very end of it, one of the things we talked about was doing some murals on the wall that was built there. And at that time, I don't know if you know who John Pugh is, but he had been a student originally at Chico State, became a renowned muralist. And he painted, I think it's a library building or one of the buildings in Chico when he was a student that had, I think you're looking inside type thing. So he's done those type of murals. We wanted to see if he could do it, and the cost was just phenomenal. It was more than what it cost us to build the park. So when I look at what the tribe has invested in our community to do what they're doing, and I just think it's absolutely amazing, because it also takes us beyond just the day-to-day struggle of surviving, and it's showing, especially to our young people, here's something more. There's more here than just surviving. This is the next step up type thing. And I just think it's critical. It's really important. But the other reason I wanted to talk tonight was that as we go down this path, and I fully understand, and thank you, Christina, for the stuff that you did 4 years ago, on the background stuff, and I read through all that stuff, and I thought, you know, you gave 3 different examples. You have the city of Redmond, it's pretty short and curt and to the point. Then you have Portland, Oregon, and it looks like it took a team of attorneys and planners to put together their ordinance, and I see what's on the news every night, and I wonder how that's working out for them.
This is dumb.
And then you have Visalia. And the thing that I did capture was Visalia talked about forming an art panel, or getting, you know, when this stuff comes up, to maybe get some artists together, to have the actual artists involved in making decisions instead of having you guys as city government do this. You guys have other more critical things to take care of, and I think there's other things you can do that can become more effective in our community and get involved in the art. And with that, I just wanted to also say, remember that the city formed the Corning Community Foundation years ago, and its primary focus is for education, cultural, for the benefit of the entire community. And that might be an avenue you could turn to help put this stuff together, maybe help make some decisions that help bring some people together, like the artists in the community who want to do this work. I think you're always going to have people who are going to complain. And you're right, as a city, you have to deal with that, but you might have an avenue to be able to turn them to group meetings instead of you having to be so actively involved in that. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Tony. Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment?
Hi, my name is Tad Williams. I was down there at the mural 4 nights watching them paint. I'm not an artist. I didn't even touch a paint can because I didn't want to ruin it. But one of the artists said to me that sometimes they go to different places and paints. And after they're done, the owner comes out and the owner just says, okay, thank you, and hands them a check, and that's about all they hear sometimes. But they said that Corning was very welcoming to them. They enjoyed that people were coming through and liked it, and the cops came by and were checking on the people there, and they just really enjoyed their time here. And I subscribe kind of what Tony said. I subscribe to the idea that there's always going to be a vocal minority that are going to complain about something, and there's the silent majority that more than likely are okay with whatever's going on. And I understand that you probably get a lot of complaints, and your brain almost convinces you that, oh my God, the whole world doesn't like these murals or the color of the other building. But you gotta have to kind of have some common sense to realize that if you look at those murals and don't like them, then I don't know what's wrong with you. If you don't like those murals, they're amazing. And it's art, so you don't necessarily need to know the story behind it. You can just stand there and look at it and get something from it on your own. But I'm sure Drew can share a story. For example, I didn't have any input into the design, but I'm a Walker River Paiute tribal member from Nevada, and our traditional name of our tribe is Trout Eaters. And there's 2 fish in the painting, and a traditional food of my tribe is pine nuts, and there's a basket with pine nuts also in the mural. So there can be a lot of different meanings for everybody in the murals. And if you see the ones by the bank, those will take your breath away. They're just amazing. But for anybody that's probably been in a political position, you have a lot of things to deal with. You probably don't need to spend time developing an ordinance, the cost of paying your attorneys who are going to probably have to review it and bill you $4 billion for it. So,
yeah.
And I would say at this time, maybe have a little faith in your businesses that some people might not like what they do, murals or painting a building, but try to have a little faith that things will be okay probably. You can always revisit and do an ordinance later. But in the meantime, you have bigger issues to deal with than trying to develop a mural ordinance. And I think I talked about everything I said. But I come from a small town in Nevada, and Corning's a nice place. Oh, I know what else I was going to say. Business owners, you probably already also have to deal with like Caltrans, the county for encroachment permits and all that. So you don't want to create more regulations and rules for businesses when there's already a lot of hoops that businesses have to jump through and fees and what the community center, the tribe is doing, and the new tribal admin were already encountering the dealing with the county and trying to get encroachment permits. And just over government can be a big burden, and you want to make it easier for businesses to want to come here and stay here.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Roscoe?
Yes, sir. In the past, the city, I don't know if it's still active or not, had a design and review committee years ago when other entities approached with murals and different paintings. I don't know if that's being held in abeyance or it's completely inactive, or it can be reinstituted as a kind of a buffer zone between the general public, and they bring recommendations and bring approaches to you as council and city manager, and not wasting your time and all the fluff and gingerbread that you're going to have to sit through meeting upon meeting. Let them come forward with reports, not recommendations or to try and override you or staff, but just to put a fast track to evaluate these. And then I think, and again, thank you to the tribe for what you've done to the community. But Drew, are you going to be doing any more murals, or is this it for now, or?
Well, I would hope, like I said, I would hope this would inspire more business owners to open up their walls. I mean, and it doesn't have to be, like I said, about the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It can be about anything. Mm-hmm. It should be about inspiring our young people.
Well, I know Everett would be very proud.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roscoe. If nobody else has anything, do we need to do a regular motion on this too? Or
Just direct staff.
it's just a direction, huh?
I'd like to direct staff not to proceed with anything at this point, and maybe if it becomes an issue, we can revisit it at a later date.
We just give a direction, or you need a motion? Okay. The only thing I would, and I've thought about this a lot, and it's one of the things that I've said to people, is there anything in the current ordinances we have, or do we need to write a basic ordinance I don't want anything vulgar, I don't want anything obscene, which you would hope we don't get that out of people. Is there something already in even case law, state case law, that we could use to stop that?
Yeah, so under the Constitution, multiple cases have come out, said things like hate speech, speech that incites violence, for instance. I know you were talking about that flag earlier. That would not be protected by the First Amendment. So things like that, that's not covered under the First Amendment, and those aren't things that would be protected.
Yes, I would hate to see somebody get upset and go, well, they can't do nothing about it, so I'm going to put this picture on my wall that's very obscene for young children or adults even to see. That would be my only concern. Other than that, we shouldn't be wasting our time on this. I think people are adults. Hopefully they'll use some. Go ahead.
Does it protect them obscene?
Okay. I'm going to use a quick analogy, and I've told this to a lot of people, and it's very basic. When you talk about you're not going to make everybody happy, I could tell everybody in this community, I want to meet you down there at Corning Chevy, and you all get a brand new Chevy pickup. And there's going to be a bunch of people show up there pissed off because they want a Ford.
I'll take one.
That is just human nature. So you talk about, we get a lot of emails, texts. We signed up for that when we asked you guys to vote to let us lead your community. So we're here for that. We're here for you. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything else?
What day do we get our pickups?
Yeah. Christine, get on that.
Maybe the city can open up some laws for more murals, especially the ones, the museum one, I think that's rather empty, and then there's other ones by Martini Plaza. I mean, it could be an option.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Who's our painter? Did you paint out there? You want to do it? Yeah, no? Okay.
Well, that's something we can visit. Let's, we have no items placed on agenda from the floor. Communications, correspondence, and information? Nothing. Reports from council?
I attended the TCTC meeting yesterday.
Attaboy.
Lasted all 5 minutes. There was nothing on the agenda, so there you go. Yeah.
I attended a really nice 10th anniversary celebration for the
Chamber of Commerce?
no, that was 100 years.
Oh, yeah.
No, for our medical buildings, the clinic. Is that what you eat?
Rolling Hills Clinic.
Yeah, Rolling Hills Clinic, yeah.
Our farmers market grand opening is Thursday, June 10th at 5, and it goes all the way to 7:30, and it will extend to August 26th at Northside Park. And also, thank you all who went to the chamber dinner. It was great. There was a lot of man hours behind that, especially Christina. She put in lots of time. So we want to thank her. And then we also have our recipient Business of the Year, Farmers Insurance, Rosie Flores here. And that's all I have to report.
I would like to say the dinner was very nice, Jay. Had a good time. Tell I had to leave early.
Yeah.
Fire call, but sorry.
Well, that's the only thing I attended. I could talk. You just hush. You had your time on the floor. I attended the dinner, and I'm very thankful that you guys were able to get that together. I know it was a little late, but it was a nice event, and I was very happy to attend. It was a nice dinner, a nice evening. Christine?
And because I sit on the Groundwater Commission on behalf of the council, I want to make sure that the public is aware that the Groundwater Commission is meeting regularly. We do have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30. There is an opportunity to remote in. We do not have to travel all the way up to Board of Supervisors chambers. But they are looking at many different things that are issues for our farmers and our more rural residents where they're having to, what's the terminology? They have to dig lower and lower.
Lower their wells.
Draw wells lower and lower because their wells are running dry. And if you are concerned about that issue or you know somebody that is, I would strongly encourage them to attend those meetings Because my personal reflection is that they're not getting as much attendance as they should for as big of an issue as it is on the western portion or the west side of I-5. There are people whose wells are going dry, and it is an issue. And this commission is required by state law to address those issues, so I'll leave it at that.
Christina, is there any?
When do they meet?
Email me if you want their schedule, I'll provide a link to you. We've been having a lot of meetings lately. We do have regularly scheduled meetings. I want to say they're the first Wednesday of the month, but we've been having a lot of special meetings because they have to get their plan in place, and there's a deadline within state law.
Is there any talk of them putting a moratorium on new orchards and new wells and stuff? Sorry, Robert.
There's discussion. If you want to talk to me, that's not on the council agenda.
Yeah, okay.
So if you have any further questions.
You open the
please
can of
talk to me
worms.
privately about that, because it's not on the agenda tonight.
Meeting adjourned.
I've had to pee for like 45 minutes.